Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're breaking down the complex, high-stakes conflict flaring up between Afghanistan and Pakistan. You know, for decades, the border between Afghanistan and Pakistan has been this simmering pot of tension. Well, in late 2024, that pot just boiled over. What we're witnessing is a really dangerous new chapter in a very, very old story. And boy, did it happen fast. It all kicked off with a deadly attack on a Pakistani outpost. That triggered these retaliatory airstrikes from Pakistan, which then led to full-on cross-border assaults. This thing escalated so quickly, pushing two nuclear-armed neighbors right to the brink. So the big question is, how on earth did we get here? And to really get it, to understand what's happening right now, we can't just look at the last few weeks. Nope, we have to rewind the clock way back, over a century, to find the real root of this conflict. Okay, so let's dig in. The story, believe it or not, really begins with a line. A line just drawn on a map back in the Age of Empires. A line that has been fought over, literally, since the day it was created. And this is it, the Durand Line. Picture this, it's 1893, and a British diplomat essentially draws a border to separate British India from Afghanistan. But here's the huge problem. It wasn't designed around the people who actually lived there. It just sliced right through the homeland of the Pashtun and Baloch peoples, splitting families, tribes, and entire cultures right down the middle. And that is the crucial point. When Pakistan inherited this border back in 1947, it also inherited this massive, massive dispute. For over 75 years, Afghanistan has seen this line as an illegitimate colonial scar. Meanwhile, Pakistan, and frankly most of the world, views it as a legitimate international border. You can see the problem, right? This quote from former Afghan President Hamid Karzai, it just perfectly captures the feeling here. This isn't just about geography. For so many Afghans, it's a symbol of division, of injustice, a line of hatred. Now, let's fast forward, because that historical grievance is now dangerously tangled up in a whole web of militant groups. And to make it even more confusing, a lot of them have similar names but completely different goals. Okay, getting this next point is absolutely essential to understanding this whole conflict. It's so easy to get lost here, but believe me, the difference between these two groups, it's everything. So what you're looking at here is a deep, dangerous, strategic irony. On one side, you've got the Afghan Taliban. They're the ones running Afghanistan now, the very group Pakistan supported for years. But on the other side, you have the Pakistani Taliban, or TTP, and their whole goal is to overthrow the Pakistani government. And here's the kicker. The TTP launches its attacks on Pakistan from safe havens inside Afghanistan. So, Pakistan's own past policies have basically created this huge security nightmare right on its doorstep. And if you thought that was complicated, take a look at this. This shows you just how messy the whole situation is. This is not a simple two-way fight, not even close. You've got the official armies, sure, but then you have groups like the Pakistani Taliban and the Balochistan Liberation Army fighting against Pakistan, and at the same time, look under other actors, you've got groups like the NRF fighting against the Afghan Taliban from inside Afghanistan itself. It's a full-blown, multi-sided proxy war. So with all that context in our back pocket, let's circle back to those recent events and see exactly how this thing spiraled so wildly out of control. Okay, so the immediate trigger was this. On December 21st, militants from the Pakistani Taliban, the TTP, stormed out of their bases in Afghanistan and launched this incredibly deadly assault, killing 16 Pakistani soldiers. Well, 4 days later, Pakistan hit back, and they hit back hard. On Christmas Day, of all days, the Pakistan Air Force flew across the border and conducted what it called precision airstrikes, hitting TTP commanders and media centers. But the Afghan Taliban told a completely different story. They claimed those strikes hit civilian homes, killing 46 people, mostly women and children. They called it a blatant violation of all international principles. So, in direct response to those airstrikes, the Afghan military mobilized. We're talking thousands of troops deployed to the border, and they began launching their own attacks on Pakistani military posts. This led to weeks of intense, bloody fighting. So where does this all go now? What's next for two nuclear-armed neighbors that are so deeply entangled and, frankly, so deeply suspicious of each other? When you really boil it all down, this whole conflict is just a perfect storm. You've got the original sin of that colonial border, this tangled mess of militant groups, decades of bad blood and mistrust, And of course, the massive strategic miscalculation of supporting a group that would one day turn around and harbor your worst enemies. And that brings us to the most critical question facing the whole region. The Durand Line was drawn with a pen over 130 years ago, but today it's being rewritten in blood. The whole world is watching to see if this is a fire that can be put out or if this is just the beginning of a much, much bigger blaze.